What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to Sportskeeda MMA News. Let's get started. Vicente Luque talks his rematch with Belal Muhammad this Saturday and gets honest about Khamzat Chimaev, who might be his future opponent. Belal Muhammad gives his side of the rematch story and also takes some shots at Conor McGregor, a very popular thing to do nowadays. Aljamain Sterling goes off on his boss and a couple of people who doubt his champ status. He might even have his next opponent lined up, and it's not who you might think. UFC lightweight Bobby Green was recently a guest on the Joe Rogan Experience and had some things to say about Sean O'Malley's tattoo. And the legendary Teddy Atlas sings his praises for Khamzat Chimaev. All that and more on today's edition of Sportskeeda MMA News. If you see any of your favorite fighters mentioned, make sure to blast that like button. Vicente Luque secured a sweet main event spot this Saturday against Belal Muhammad, the man he had knocked out cold on short notice back in 2016. Luque's number 5 in the welterweight division, and has completely outclassed his last 4 opponents, 2 KOs and 2 Darce chokes. Did you know he also finished Thiago Santos back in the day? Well, recently, Luque spoke to Combate and gave us a snippet of what he expects from his rematch with Muhammad. Of course I'd prefer if we stayed on the feet, but I think the chances of that are slim. I knocked him out in our first fight, so he knows how dangerous I am on the feet. I think he'll opt for the wrestling game, which he's very good at. He'll try to smother me against the fence or take me down and not let my hands go. I've been practicing a lot of wrestling, like I've had my whole career, so I can neutralize his game. I will neutralize it. I'll try to impose my striking and get the KO. My style is always about attacking and finishing the fight. Luque was also very aware of the welterweight division's new contender Khamzat Chimaev, but something tells me he's not so sold on him yet.
I think, now we can see who he really is, and he's a tough guy, because guys that are fighters, we don't buy that story and that hype. Oh, he's gonna come in and dominate the division. I actually thought he was gonna have, a really, really hard time and maybe be finished by Gilbert. And he was able to survive and put Gilbert in danger. So I think that, it was, I was surprised, and definitely now I know that, he's tough. He can go in there and fight. But we got to see more from him.
Imagine a number 1 contender fight between Luque and Khamzat Chimaev. Who do you think takes that? Leave a comment down below. The UFC recently spilled the beans on the commentators for Luque vs. Muhammad 2. Daniel Cormier and Dominic Cruz will be sitting together for the first time since their infamous beef last year, where Cruz criticized DC's lack of homework before calling fights. At least DC doesn't smell like alcohol and cigarettes. The second half of Saturday's main event, Chicago's own Belal Muhammad also had his own thoughts on the rematch. Remember the name, he sits right behind Luque at number 6, and we all know he's looking for sweet revenge. Muhammad's on a 7-fight unbeaten streak, most recently controlling Wonderboy to secure a unanimous decision. Here's what Muhammad said to the great Kevin Iole.
I don't like to overthink it. I just think that I'm a whole different fighter, and I think that I had to go through that to get to where I am today. I don't like to look back on there and be like, oh man, he read this or he read that. It was a short notice fight for both of us. I just think I just got caught. It's 4-ounce gloves, it happens.
It does happen, and Muhammad learned from that and racked up some pretty important wins on his run at welterweight gold, which is currently owned by arguably the best MMA fighter alive right now, Kamaru Usman. The man Conor McGregor said he wanted to take the belt from at 170, but Muhammad had something to say about that.
To me, I think that he's good at just creating headlines, and you see it nowadays with like a McGregor who would just like post the most random things just to stay in the attention and stay in the fans' eyes. I don't think he really wants that fight. I don't think that fight's really gonna happen.
I think that's a sentiment many fighters hold, but I wouldn't put it past McGregor. Then Muhammad also predicted who his next opponent would be if he beats Luque.
It comes down to if Khamzat wins. I think that if he wins, I think it'll end up being the winner of my fight fights him. If Gilbert Burns ends up winning, I think that the winner of our fight's the number 1 contender to fight Usman or Leon Edwards. And in general, I don't know if Usman really is going to be back in July.
Who has a better chance at beating Khamzat Chimaev, Belal Muhammad or Vicente Luque? What about Colby? Marlon Moraes just laced up the 4-ounce gloves once and for all. He officially retired from MMA just 1 day before the 15th anniversary of his pro debut. He fought for the bantamweight belt, holds a razor-close win over the legendary Jose Aldo, and he's the only fighter to completely flatline the current champ Aljamain Sterling. What a fascinating career. No longer disputed, Aljamain Sterling is still the UFC bantamweight champion, and some people aren't too happy about that. He got illegally kneed in the head, may have put on a little song and dance, but in the rematch, he actually grinded out a win over his toughest opponent in Petr Yan. But Sterling is having a hell of a time making sure that he fires back at all the haters, which by the way, includes his boss, UFC President Dana White, who thought Yan beat him in their rematch at UFC 273. Sterling spoke to Cole Shelton and laid into Uncle Dana.
Dana's always going to be throwing dirt on my name. That's just what he does. And I think he doesn't really think he has Yan rated so highly as such a dangerous guy that to have the grappler do that to him, he was really, really shocked. Sucks to be him right now in the sense of you really wrote me off after everything that you've seen that I've done in the sport and his organization. It's a slap in the face, but at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me. I think it bothers him more, clearly, because he doesn't know how to judge a fight, which it shows. And I think maybe he just let his emotions get ahead of him, and that's probably it. He's probably really invested in Yan winning that fight, and I threw a monkey wrench into their plans.
He also threw a monkey wrench into all the haters that bet on Petr Yan. One of the naysayers was former UFC lightweight Josh Thompson, who said this to Sterling on Twitter. Why didn't Aljamain Sterling have that same energy when Dana White said he lost the fight? John McCarthy, I'll wait. Sterling immediately fired back at Thompson and his podcast partner Big John McCarthy. Josh, respectfully, get the f*** off my nuts. You and John can go blow each other in the back of the studio for all I care. You guys constantly dog me for ratings. Piss off already. For the record, I shit on Dana's opinion too. Now have a day. Amid his assaults on all the haters, Sterling also recently said that he thinks based on merit alone, Jose Aldo deserves the next title shot, and Aldo made sure to show that receipt. Aljamain Sterling, you said I would be next on merit, and I'm here accepting your challenge. Dana White, send me the contract soon before he changes his mind. Which fight do you think makes more sense for Aljamain Sterling, TJ Dillashaw or Jose Aldo? Dustin Poirier recently gave an update on the UFC's lack of action in booking him his next fight. Dustin, when can we see you back in the octagon, brother? When they stop playing around? Are you gonna fight Nate Diaz? Is UFC serious about moving on from this discussion? I don't know what's going on. I haven't heard anything from anyone in the last 2 months. UFC veteran Bobby King Green recently sat down with his coach and adoptive father Mitchell Davis and Joe Rogan and talked about some pretty heavy stuff, from surviving in prison as a first-time offender to the hurdles Green had to overcome in his life. Green gained everyone's respect recently for taking a short-notice main event fight with Islam Makhachev back in February, only 2 weeks after his dominant performance against Nasrat Haqparast. Green spoke to Rogan about superstar bantamweight Sean O'Malley and the fact that O'Malley has a tattoo of rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine on his shoulder, which he said has grave consequences. When I see Sean, and the reason I don't like Sean is because of Tekashi 6ix9ine. I don't like 6ix9ine. He went and got him tatted. You just jumped into the pool with him. You gotta be able to stand on what you do, because when those people come up and see, now we attacking you, Sean. You clicked up with 6ix9ine. Now you get in the same group. Now you gotta stand on it. Y'all wanna be badasses? Well, stand on that. The rest of Bobby Green's conversation with Rogan is one of the more fascinating insights into one of the UFC's most respected fighters. What is your favorite Bobby Green moment? While you're still here, hit that subscribe button. The UFC has recently parted ways with 3 fighters: strawweight Kay Hansen, bantamweight Jesse Strader, and heavyweight Chase Sherman for a second time. All fighters were on a losing skid, and people still wonder how Sam Alvey is still in the UFC. And last but not least, one of the greatest boxing coaches to ever live also talks about MMA on the side. Teddy Atlas saw UFC 273 last Saturday and shared his sage wisdom with the MMA world on just how good Khamzat Chimaev really is. Chimaev went toe-to-toe with Gilbert Burns in a crazy barn burner for the ages. Here's what Atlas had to say.
Look at how good he is. Look at what he overcame. Look at when he got taken to that place where people never know how they're going to behave till they're there. And he got taken to that place where it's dark. It's a cave. And he went deep into that cave and he found a way out. Not only found a way out, he came out with a lantern with light emanating where he could go into other dark places now. And again, you don't know till you get the answers. You don't know till the questions are asked. And the questions were asked for the first time in his career that we've seen. And he had the answers.
Incredible words from the man who coached fighters like Timothy Bradley, Alex Povetkin, and even assisting the great Mike Tyson for a time. The 11-0 Khamzat Chimaev is now number 3 in the welterweight division, and many fans believe the next fight to make is with none other than Colby Covington. Imagine the press conference between them. How sweet is having one of the best minds in boxing share his thoughts on MMA as well. That about does it for Sportskeeda MMA news. Here are some of the best comments from today. If Khamzat becomes the champ, he should give Burns a title shot rematch. Well, Islam has definitely earned his title shot next. No one with any logic can dispute that. Colby's time is coming to an end. All these welterweights coming up are going to smash. If you like this video, please like, comment, and share. Your comments could be featured in the next Sportskeeda MMA news video. For updates, quotes, and exclusive interviews from all your favorite fighters, follow Sportskeeda MMA on Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in.